how do you get rid of fear? You replace it with knowledge. You replace it, man. It's not rocket science. And that's why you always hear me say it's easy. And you're like, well, people don't think it's easy. That's because they don't have the knowledge.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, we're back in the Hit Lab today, and I got an extra special treat joining me in the Hit Lab today. He needs no introduction, but he's a self-proclaimed businessman with a podcast. However, there's a whole lot more to him, but he needs no introduction. Brad Lee, the real Brad Lee, is in the building. Brad, how we doing, baby?
Man, I'm excellent. Thank you for having me, Nick.
It was my pleasure, dude.
Absolutely, sir.
All right, this is going to be good, man.
He says self-proclaimed.
That's right. Well, at least that's what your team put on your Instagram.
Self-proclaimed?
I guess. I think so.
Well, I wouldn't argue. I am a business man, and I am a podcast host, dropping bombs, as you know.
That's right.
So it would be a true statement, although I don't know why my team said self-proclaimed.
Well, they didn't. I'm just self-proclaiming it for you because it was on your Instagram.
Yeah, but usually self-proclaimed kind of infers that it's arguable. Like Nick Hyder, a self-proclaimed billionaire, like it hasn't been established.
Not yet.
But I am a businessman, so I'll accept that proclamation.
I mean, it's pretty solid. That's what it said for a long time on the Instagram. It said, just a businessman with a podcast.
That's right. Because when you start to write bios on yourself and titles for yourself, I feel a little bit pretentious when you entrepreneur, podcaster, multimillionaire. I'm just a business guy with a podcast. It's pretty simple.
Well, I would say, you're very confident, but you're not pretentious. I think I know you well enough to say that. Confidence is extremely important to success.
Very.
Yet it offends people, doesn't it?
Sometimes, but it usually offends the ones that lack confidence.
There it is.
It's they see confidence in you and they kind of get upset at you because they don't possess it. And or they were raised in a way that you're supposed to stay humble and you're supposed to be quiet and you're supposed to fly under the radar and just kind of, lay low. But, I found that doesn't work as well. I think you should do the opposite. I think you should, exude confidence. I think that you should believe in yourself. I think that you should be heard. And I think you should ultimately, plant your flag and kick the door in like you own the place and roll out like you sold it.
Well, isn't it? Nobody's ever said, when they look at somebody that's extremely not confident, and they're like, yeah, man, I like that guy. Yeah. Or I like that person. I want more of that.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. But I would say that confidence is extremely attractive. Why
are you attracted to me?
Here we go, baby. I'm gonna give you a hit right there for that one. But I think confidence is a skill too. I mean, you kind of got to practice it, right?
I don't know if it's a skill. I think it's more of a trait. But I think doing the work and becoming skilled contributes to it for sure.
Well, and I love Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. I love him. And he talks about confidence a lot. As one of my favorite things that he says is, do not allow my confidence to offend you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, there was a couple of sound bites that I want to come to that were on that your team put out, which is fantastic. But you were talking about confidence. I don't remember where I heard it from recently. But you were like, why would you not want to have a high opinion of yourself? Right? How can you be good at anything if you think negatively or down about yourself?
Well, it's all mindset. And, we're taught to stay humble and, not be confident and not to openly believe in ourselves. So again, I think the clip that you saw is I'm like, I was talking on the balcony about, how people get offended because you think you look good or you think you are good. And that offends people. And it's like, well, are you arrogant? Like what? No, it's not arrogance. It's certainty, and not only that, it's like if more people learn to like themselves, they wouldn't be so worried about what everybody else thinks of them. And that's where I'm at. I know I'm a good dude. I always say I'm probably the closest thing to an angel walking the planet. I'm serious. I don't do anything bad. I don't think bad. I wake up every day grateful to be here. I think all day long, how can I help people? You could call me a servant, if you will. How can I help people? People think I'm a top sales guy in the world. Well, I am, but I don't sell anybody anything. I just help people. So I say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a help person.
Yeah.
How do I help you? If I don't think my product or service or whatever it is I'm selling you will help you, I wouldn't sell it to you. So I'm not selling you. I'm just helping you. And I think my energy is a little bit different than most salespeople, because when they try to sell you, they're trying to get something, commission, for themselves. They're trying to sell you something ultimately for themselves. I don't do that. I am not trying to sell you for me in any way. And I think that energy transfers as trust, and trust is very important to sales.
Well, it's, there's, I don't even know how many thousands or tens of thousands of hours of you on the internet that lives out there. But like, how close would you say, because I'm fortunate to know you on a little bit more of a personal level. I've seen you around your family, kids have hung out and everything else. What would you say is probably the most misjudged thing about you from people that only know you from YouTube or Instagram or one of those platforms?
Misjudged? I don't know.
Because they don't see you bring all your daughters and wife flowers when you get home from a road trip. They don't see that.
Well, doesn't everybody?
No, they don't. It takes a lot of thought to do that. I can promise you, because I do it, and it requires me thinking about it, being intentional about it to do it.
Well, when you focus on strengthening things that you want to grow and develop, like a marriage or relationships with your kids, and you're focused on it, you see flowers, they like flowers. If you're thoughtful, it's easy.
I think that's where kind of where I was getting at, though. What you focus on grows, right? What you focus on grows. So when you focus on all the things that are going wrong in your life, you probably attract a lot more of that type of stuff, versus if you're focused on all the things that are going right in your life. So there was actually a sales tactic that maybe I got it right here. Tell me what you think of this. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think I saved it in my phone. So check this out. You're not listening on the phones. I'm going to play it to the mic, but it's going to be loud. So, all right, tell me what you think about this one.
Okay.
On a scale from 1 to 10, do you guys know how to do the 1 to 10 close? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being we're moving forward, 1 being you hate me and you never want to talk to me again. Where are we at right now with this program? So let's say they say 6, and you're like, all right, why not a 1? And then they tell you all the reasons that this is good, and you're like, got it. So then what would it take to get to a 10? A lot of times they don't have anything. They're like, it's like, all right, well, it sounds like it's not about the program. So what are you afraid of having happen? And so then that gets you to sidestep so you can go straight to the issue. And obviously if they do give you something that gets you to 10, most times it's like, oh, I just didn't tell you that. We have that. My bad. That's on me. So we feeling 10-ish now? Great, let's go.
He's a hell of a marketer, that's for sure. However, the 1 to 10 type of close, I think what it's good for is to identify and isolate the person's objection, because it's hard to get past an objection if you don't know what it is. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally against it, 10 being you're ready to move forward, where would you say we are right now? They say a 6. Well, again, they could say a million things. And the way Alex serves it up, it sounds really good, but it's not always in reality what happens. So it's hypothetical. It's a good, technique to smoke out the real objection. But if you want to close a deal, when you close a deal, by the way, it's moving them from a no to a yes. So if they're not moving forward, and he says on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we? He says, well, we're at a 6. And you say, well, what would make it a 10? They might say, well, I got to think about it. Mm-hmm. Well, then what?
From then, I'm saying, well, cool.
Then
what is it we're thinking about?
But what he just said isn't going to work then.
Right.
So there's a lot of things they can say that doesn't work. So I don't really believe in teaching people word tracks because they get uncomfortable and they don't understand how many ways it can go wrong, which then causes them to get a little bit nervous and start like getting antsy, and that deteriorates the key of what you're trying to accomplish, which is build trust.
Right.
Because if I see you getting all nervous and, why are you nervous? You're nervous because you don't know what to say now, because that's not what the word track I was supposed to say. So if you just keep it real, what are you trying to do with the 1 to 10 or any other word track? You're trying to smoke out the real objection. That's the key. Identify and isolate the objection and then close with logic. If you're able to close the deal, all deals aren't closable.
What's the all objections lead back to basically 4 things, which is price, spouse, time, or belief. And if you can isolate the objective and filter it back to that bucket, you can probably figure out a way to figure out if the person actually needs whatever it is that you're thinking that they need, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to solve their problem.
Yeah, but I think it's too late at this point if you're in the close. I mean, you're supposed to build value along the way. You're supposed to have a conversation, find out all the things you need to know in order to build value in the product or service. So by the time this happens and now they're saying, I don't believe you, well, you screwed up earlier.
Right.
Because again, if you want to sell somebody anything, all you have to do is raise the value of your product or service above the value they have on their money. An exchange is made every time. If I said, I'll sell you this watch for $20, it's a sale. Why? Well, because this watch is worth way more than $20.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me. You don't have to do anything, but you do have to trust that it's real. You do have to trust that trust is what you're trying to establish.
Right.
And the way you build trust is to ultimately get the information through a conversation, find out what they value. So when I build my value, there's a step, building value. When I build the value in my product or service, I already know if you want it and you need it. If you didn't, I wouldn't be trying to sell it to you. I'd switch to something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me into sales, bro, because this is my expertise.
I agree. The reason I was bringing all those things up is because it kind of goes back into, again, your authenticity and the fact that like things have happened good for you in your life. As a matter of fact, there was a video that basically broke the internet years ago. You remember this video where they had all these kids that were going to race, and they put them all on the starting line. And before they started the race, the guy said, "Hey, if you grew up in a family with both parents, take 2 steps forward. If you never missed a meal as a child, take 2 steps forward." And basically they were just highlighting all the quote unquote advantages that some people get versus others. But the rules of the race are the same once the gun fires and you go, and the winner, who crossed the finish line first wins. You didn't grow up rich. Right. You grew up the same as everybody else. You probably you didn't have the most things in class. You showed me your childhood home. There was nothing crazy special about it. So, but you could be the victim and say, well, that guy had more than I did growing up. But you've bypassed most of the people you probably grew up with, if not all of them, right?
I haven't kept up with all of them, but let's say yes.
So what would, this is what makes you unique, man. And this is what kind of drew me to you when I first met you in the first place. It was just like, man, like that guy just don't have any excuses. He don't even take time to think of an excuse. He's thinking of a solution right now. And then you have a knack for doing things extremely fast and what you call easy. I can tell you what you do on social, what you do with your podcast, the businesses you've built ain't easy. I can promise, because I've built some that weren't as good or haven't achieved those things yet. And I know how long and how hard we worked to get there, right? So, but I think that's part of your magic. We were talking about something in the world of real estate the other day, and you said, yeah, man, just take a look, because knowing my luck, it'll be perfect. Dude, nobody says that. Most people say, knowing my luck, it'll suck. You know what I mean?
Well, they need to fix that.
But don't you agree? Like, you hear people like that. You help people like that all the time.
I help people.
You help people overcome that same type mindset all the time.
Well, I try to, because I think it boils down to your mindset, your skill set, or your habits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you show me somebody with a poor mindset, then it's very difficult to show them how to get the skills, because they're so negative and, self-destructive. They can't do it long enough to get good.
Mm-hmm.
Getting good at anything just takes practice, right?
Well, the right type of practice for sure.
It just takes practice. Obviously, if you're practicing wrong, you're going to do it wrong. But I mean,
that's how you build confidence,
to get
right?
good at anything, you just practice.
Yeah.
You take the time, put in the work, and practice, and you get good. And then your confidence goes up because you've put in the work.
Yeah.
Most people want to avoid the work. I don't. I don't mind doing the work. Why? Well, because I realize that that's how you get good. It's how you do it. It's just like failing. I'm not afraid to fail. Failure is a part of the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I be afraid to fail if that's part of becoming successful?
Yeah.
I would embrace it.
Well, the failure is, everybody wants to get better. Like that
takes practice.
But like that loss or that failure is like how if you take time to look at it and figure out what went wrong, you just got better. You now have the knowledge to practice on something to get better.
Hopefully. And if not, do it again and then do it again. I think it's my perspective that's different.
Okay.
And I don't understand why everyone doesn't see things the way I see things. But if someone were to say, Brad, what's different about you than a lot of other people? I would say the way I see things, the way I look at things, which is a perspective.
Yeah.
My perspective's unique.
Mm-hmm. You're also very aware of everything going on. As raising a 15-year-old boy, there's a lot of things he's not aware of. As I've grown in life and business, there's a lot of things I wasn't always aware of. I think that was highlighted, especially in like 2023 and 2024. There was a video where Donald Trump took a drink of water and he used like both hands, and they roasted him for taking a drink of water with two hands. Ramsey said after he interviewed him, he was like, that's the most aware human being I've ever been around. He's aware of everything happening around him at any given time. And I guess you'd have to be, because there's so many eyes on you, right? So to a day in the life of Brad, like you kind of have to be turned on all the time, right? You've achieved a certain level of success. You are a certain person to a whole lot of people, right? Self-proclaimed. But, you have to be pretty aware. That comes with great responsibility, right?
If you accept it, I suppose.
Have you accepted it, would you say?
No, it's not my responsibility.
Okay. Why not?
Because I can only control me. Like I can't control you and him and everybody else. And if you think you can, you're crazy.
For sure.
And so I've realized I can't really control anything other than one thing, my mind.
Absolutely.
So let me just do me. Try to help. Again, I think your intentions matter. Like I'm not out trying to screw people. I'm not looking to hurt people. I'm looking to help people. And that's for real. Like, in other words, that's not saying it on the podcast and then I'm out doing the opposite. It's for real.
Yeah.
So I think when you have the right intention, it's a lot easier to not worry about these things. But it's not my responsibility if he doesn't like what I'm saying or can't grasp what I'm saying, especially with me, because I try to keep things simple. Don't you agree?
You keep things extremely simple. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some people will be like, it's more complicated than that. Well, maybe to you, but it's not more complicated than that to me. Like, for example, success. People want to be successful. Well, I think the first thing you have to do is figure out what that looks like. Mm-hmm. Most people don't. They don't take the time. They say, I just want to be rich. Well, what is rich? Because I wanted to be rich too. And then some people think I'm rich. I don't think I'm rich. I mean, I can say, yeah, I'm rich, but I'm not really. What's rich to me is what matters. It's not what's rich to everybody else. Everybody else can think I'm rich. They would be incorrect. Mm. Now, rich in what? Because again, I'm very rich in some things, but the first step to be successful is figure out what it looks like for you. Mm-hmm. Quit worrying about what everybody else thinks. A lot of people think there's a key. It's a combination. You've heard me say that. It's a combination. People are like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. And everybody has their own. So if I go try and figure out your combination and I'm like, I'm still not happy. Well, that's because I used your combination. Like, take a moment, figure out what success looks like to you. It doesn't always have to be a massive amount of money. Now, for me, it is. I want a massive amount of money, which is why I say I'm not really as successful as everybody seems to think I am, because I still worry about money. I still focus on making more. I think success is when you don't have to anymore. Like, money is just no longer a concern at all.
Is that the definition between rich and wealth?
Again, depends on whose definition, but yeah, I mean, you could say that. To me, I used to think $1 million was all the money in the world. And then I made $1 million and it's like, well, that's not that much. If you think about it, if I handed you $1 million, you'd be a millionaire. And most people think a millionaire is like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. If you spend $1, you're no longer a millionaire. So is it really a millionaire that you want to be? No, what they want is a feeling, is a lifestyle, is a ease, is a peace, it's a comfort. And $1 million doesn't buy it. Now, could it buy it for some people? Absolutely. Depends on the person, doesn't it? So it's always an individual thing. So people need to focus on themselves. What do I believe success looks like? That's step one. You have to know what it looks like. Why would you go hunt for something you don't even know what it looks like? So figure out what success looks like. Then step two is figure out how to get it. Now, most people think that's the hard part. The hard part's figuring out what it looks like for you. Then the second part, which is to figure out how to get it, that's the easy part. You just find someone who's already got it and see what they did. Because 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is what they did. So I say building my social media was easy. Why? Well, because all I did was filmed me. Like, I let a camera follow me around. And I was not afraid to put it out on social media, because if you really want to, build a personal brand and get Insta famous or whatever they call it, you just have to flood the internet with your face. But most people won't do that.
Why is that?
Because they're afraid of what everybody else thinks about their face. I don't care what you think about my face.
I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more. I would say that, you're very aware, like most people look at you, most people would look at you and say, yeah, I mean, he's got style, right? You obviously, there's intention about the clothes you wear and like the look you got. You're consistent. There's a personal brand that you're aware of when you're going through all those things, right? So it definitely matters, but it doesn't, how does that affect your mindset? If you do you ever have a bad hair day or whatever else? Because I do. If I'm wearing a hat, I usually had a bad hair day. It happens.
Well, again, I mean, we all have bad hair days, don't we?
I don't know. Do you?
Sure. Sometimes you wake up and your hair's not the way you like it. It doesn't look as good to you as you think it has in the past. That would be a bad hair day.
Right.
So we all do that. The difference is everybody is worried about it, and I'm not. So
you like what you like.
Well, no, I'm just not concerned with your opinion of my hair.
Right.
9 times out of 10, you'll never see it bad because I care about my hair.
There you go.
So when I wake up, I'm not going to go outside without looking what I believe is as good as I can look. Now, in some situations, you can't help it. So you just go. But if you ever see me out and about, like at the gym, you see me at the gym, dude, I do not do my hair to go to the gym. I wake up in the morning, I throw on my shorts and my shirt and my shoes, I grab a bottle of water, and I'm out the door. And I don't even look at my hair, period. Now, I might look at my hair when I'm brushing my teeth, but I've never once said, oh, I got to do something with my hair.
Yeah.
Now, why? I don't know. Like, if I could bottle that, I think I'd be a billionaire.
I agree.
But I think it's just my perspective. Again, if someone doesn't like me because of my hair, are they worth liking?
Absolutely not. But the point I'm getting at here is like, one, you're very aware.
Like my beard
Mm-hmm.
in the white. I noticed that it looked whiter than normal. Well, it might be the lights, might be. Then what did I say at the end? Whatever, let's just go. Why? Because, dude, whatever. If someone's not going to like me because I'm growing gray, well, guys, guess what? You only hope to grow gray. There's people out there that think, this old guy, I'd hate to be 70. Brother, trust me, I would love to be 70. And I'm not even guaranteed 70. So I do not look at old people dreading that I get old. I hope one day I'm that old. Because there's a lot of us that are not going to get the chance to be that old.
Yeah.
And if you had a crystal ball and you saw that you're not going to get to be that old, you would beg to be that old. You see, that's what I mean by I have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Most people don't think like that. They just think I'd hate to be that old. No, if you're smart, maybe I'm smart, I don't know. But if you're smart, you pray to be that old.
When in a previous career, I won't say stuck because we didn't have a real ceiling, but I was forced to work with some people that were like, I couldn't wait to get out, to get away from. It was like, I felt like they were cancer, man. And like, when I look back, it was about a 5 or 6 year stretch where I could feel myself changing into and I didn't like the direction that it was going.
But you eventually quit, didn't you?
Well, I would say I didn't quit. I finished, and I ran like hell from there. And then I immediately, I realized that was something that I didn't like, and I needed to fix. I wanted to repair, and all it took was like it took a couple months of just conscious thought, like, what's good right now? What's good about today?
Yeah.
What's good versus what's bad. As a guy that's extremely competitive and always wants to win, I'm always looking for ways to grow. And that can be dangerous if you're not making sure that you count the blessings along the way that allowed you to fail or whatever else it was, like a new day or anything else. One of the most profound things that I've ever heard you say was, and all pastors should listen up because this is a big one, was that you're like, dude, you only get a certain number of days. And he's like, and the worst thing that could happen is all your days are the same. Like, the real gift is a new day. And a new day ain't a sunrise necessarily. It's new opportunity, new experience, new choices. And I thought, damn, that's a really cool way to look at that. Because one, you got to be grateful you woke up. But like, again, how many people are in the same place they were 365 days ago? And that's sad.
Well, none technically. You can't be, because you can't live in the past.
Right.
But I see what you're saying. To have no progress, to kind of be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I understand that in order to have change, you have to change. And most people dread the idea of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for change.
Isn't that crazy that as a kid, you didn't dread change? It's every year for at least 13 years. If you finish high school, you're a new person every year. You're a first grader, and then you're a second grader, and so on and so forth. And then a lot of people go to college, and then they get their job, and then they stop changing.
Well, because their fear sets in. See, that's what it is with business owners too. You start out with nothing, and then you start to build something, and then next thing you know, you have something, and then you stop and you go, wait a minute, I don't want to lose this. So you just literally went from abundance and fearlessness and risk taking to now fear-based, scarcity-based mindset. It's a mindset.
What as an athlete, some people have a knack for knowing who to play and when to play them, or they see a kid play and they're like, that kid's going to be great. There's some scouts that are better than others. When it comes to, like, let's just say trends on media, I think you kind of have maybe you know it, maybe you don't. I think you're very aware of it, but you kind of have an idea of that's not going to work, or that'll work, or that's cool versus not cool. Like, you didn't go to school for any of those things. Like, what do you pay attention to in the world of media that allows you to year over year to have a top rated podcast, a big one, and social media that grows at astounding rates year over year over year? I mean, you're reaching, you showed me your Instagram, it reached like 28 million, 30 million people in 30 days.
Yeah, I think authenticity is attractive to people because there's such a fake world out there. No one will say what they mean, and everyone's afraid of being canceled, and everybody wants the spotlight so badly that it does the opposite. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, listen, I'm just willing to share what I think and what I do and who I know, and I'm really trying to help people. Like, my social media is designed 100% to share what I know, so other people, I used to think younger people, but now I'm realizing it's not just younger people, it's everybody. Mm-hmm. But I share it so somebody else can see or hear something that I've learned the hard way, so they don't have to. Mm-hmm. Because if you watch other people, you can learn a lot. A lot of people think the best way to learn is to, fail yourself. To me, that's not the best way. The best way is to not fail at all, and to learn from other people's mistakes.
That's right.
So you just learn to watch and pay attention and, be aware.
Yeah.
Awareness is a skill too.
I agree.
You have to pay attention, and sometimes people aren't paying attention.
Mm. I mean, there's a lot of things they're not paying attention to. It's again,
I pay attention to everything.
You do. I agree, and I think that's kind of the magic that I'm kind of alluding to here in all this is, you use your mind. It's definitely the sharpest tool in your tool belt, and you use it extremely well. But the thing that amazes me most, Brad, and I remember watching when at about this time last year, and you and Andy were launching a new product, and I remember I'm just paying attention. I'm aware too. I'm watching people grow. I get inspired by that growth. They show me things. I'm like, cool, man. If they can do it, I can do it. There's I pay attention to a lot of people, and but every year, or at least up until last year, I thought, man, like, is that as big as they can get? Is that as big as they can get? Because you could probably not do anything different than you're doing right now. Do it for 10 more years and be retired, so on and so forth. But you still keep bringing on new things at faster rates than you did 5 years ago, in my opinion, at least. You got real training, which you're thinking about maybe rebranding that. But I think that there's a whole lot of people that need to know about that. Everybody that's considering college right now, if they're not going to college for a trade, I would say would be better suited to invest their time and their money in real training than 4 years of their life plus some, and probably 60 to 80 grand or more.
For sure.
With no return on investment.
I can say that with 100% certainty.
So I want you to tell them why you came up with real training, because it was about a year ago when you have all these, you've invested wisely. You got all these businesses that are killing it. But you were like, man, I don't like talking about them all because I feel like I'm the guy with the trench coat that's got all, you want watches, you want shoes, you want movies. What do you want? And you figured a way to kind of bring it all together under an umbrella to give value, and with the icing on the cake, which could be a position when they're done.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, again, I try to focus on helping people, and, the people I want to help are the ones that need it. And, one time I was talking to Grant Cardone, and he was telling me, bro, you're worried about the people that are broke. They don't have any money, and you need to focus on other people who have the money, because you can't get it if they don't have it. And I said, but they don't need the help because they have money. I want to help the people with no money. And when I say no money, I don't mean absolutely zero. I'm talking about, you're making less than, 80, 100 grand a year. And now in this day and age, that's not a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand I have people that work for me that, I pay 60 grand a year. And I wonder, how do they live? Like, I don't understand how you live on 60 grand a year. I'll bet you, I mean, I don't know who makes what, but like 60 grand a year is a good, decent salary. But how do you live on 60 grand a year? People are like, oh, you're jaded. No, I guarantee I could live on 60 grand a year. Okay. But I'm talking about really live, man. Go on vacation and stay there for 10, 15 days in a nice hotel, go have a huge Christmas where you can, buy all the gifts that you want to give and just live to that level. Now, how do you do that on 60 grand? You don't. Mm-hmm. So I want to help those guys. I want to help the guys that are making 100 grand or less. And so I just racked my brain. How can I help them? Well, you know how you can help them? Give them a damn job. And so I'm thinking, well, I have companies, and if they're willing to sell and they're willing to do what I tell them, they can make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 easily. Mm-hmm. But they have to understand the rules. They have to understand the game. They have to understand that there's 3 areas that they need to focus on: mindset, skill set, and habits. If I can get you to understand abundance and optimism and kindness and ethics and integrity, right? And get your perspective in the right place. That's your mindset. And I can show you how to close, communicate, market, and build a personal brand on social media. Mm-hmm. Those are the skills that you need to work for me anyway. And then last, give you the habits that you need to perpetuate that. Mm-hmm. Then brother, I'll give you a job. So I just thought to myself, man, I'm looking for killer salespeople. I want fire-breathing dragons. And I've got the ability to make them. Well, dude, that's how you help. So I thought, let me put together a real training program that literally teaches mindset, skill set, and habits to the point where even if they don't come work for me, their lives will actually change.
Yeah.
Their beliefs will change. Their confidence will change. Their relationships will change. And more importantly, their skills will change. And if I can get these guys to understand what those things are, or girls, when I say guys, I mean people.
Yep.
If I can get them to understand these things and they agree to do them, because again, I can't make them do them. I can only lead them to the light. So that's where it came, is like, listen, how do I help these people? Well, I could give them a job. Mm-hmm. Most people want to sell you a course and then hope, that's it. Why? Because, dude, they just want your money.
Yeah.
I want it too, but I only want it if I can help you. Like, people say, well, if you believe that much, Brad, why don't you give it away? I tried that, Nick. When it's free, nobody cares.
That's right.
So believe it or not, the first, let's say, filter is that it does cost money and that you need to bet on yourself. If you can't bet on you, why should I?
That's right.
So I put a fee in place. It's a filter. Why? Because once they work for me successfully, I'll give it back in the form of a bonus. So it's really just a deposit on themselves. People are like, well, Brad, you do it for free. I've done it for free and it doesn't work. It's not helping you. What's helping you is making you understand you got to bet on yourself, bro. You got to take a risk. So I put a fee in place. That's a risk. It's a risk you're going to take. And if you're not willing to take that risk, don't. But how do you win in life? Number one, you got to take a bet on yourself. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, so listen, first requirement is write a check. I don't want a bunch of freeloaders, okay? I can't help losers. I can only help winners that are currently losing. And so there's the difference. So the real training program was, listen, if I can get them to understand the mindset, I can give them the skills that they need, and I can give them the habits, and they agree to do those things, then I guarantee they'll make a bunch of money with me. And why would I send them to work somewhere else if I just created a badass? So I'm going to create all these badasses, and then I'm going to give them a place to work, give them a vehicle so they can get the money, the initial money. I have many companies with products to sell. Well, I have to sell something? Yeah, you have to sell something. I personally have never met anybody successful that isn't selling somebody something. And I think to myself every time I say that, is there somebody that I know that's successful that doesn't sell something to somebody? And the answer is no, I don't. So it's like a light bulb came on. Holy smokes. sales is required. Okay, that's one of the skill sets. Communication, marketing. Like if I can teach somebody to market better, they can blow up their own business, let alone mine.
Yep.
But if I can turn you into a badass, dude, give you the skills, give you the habits, and give you the mindset, why would I want you to work anywhere else? I'd want you to be on my team. So that's what I did. I said, I'm going to give these guys a job. So I just tried it, started a program, called it Real Training because that's what it is. It's real training. I wanted to change the branding because it's more than just training, but I started it and I offered it and hundreds of people paid the fee and I put them to work and they started making money and they started sending me, oh my God, this is unbelievable. It changed my life. And you know what I said? I didn't change your life. You did. And that's the whole concept. But anyway, that's how I thought of it, man. How do I help the people that need the help? Well, give them the information. They got to take it. I can't make you do anything. It's like building a ladder. Let's pretend you want to get out of the rat race, Nick. Let's say you're making 80 grand. You know there's more. You want more. Your wife wants you to have more. Everybody wants it. They're just afraid to admit it. And I built a ladder. And I said that ladder leads to the next level of life where you're making 200-300 grand. And that's where you need to be to get out of the rat race. It's very difficult to get out of the rat race making 100 grand. Why? Well, because you need to invest.
In this town, it's 20 grand a month.
And you have to have something to invest. Would you agree? Okay. So in order to invest, you have to have discretionary income. Well, if you're making 100 grand and you have a family, dude, you don't have anything left. So you're stuck in the rat race. And 20 years later, dude, you're still in that rat race, maybe at 160, but you're still there because as your pay increases, so does inflation and cost of living. So really you have to make a difference. And I don't know if you've ever read, I think it's called Quantum Leap, but if you'd work harder at what you're doing, you're just going to get more of what you're getting. So if you want what you're getting, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you want something else, you have to do something else. And most people don't have the roadmap. I got the roadmap. And how do I know? Because I was a 16-year-old high school dropout, destined for nothing. And I found and built an empire. I can show people how to do that, but I can't make them do it.
Right.
So that's the program.
Yeah.
And then fortunately, since I've done it, I've got businesses to put them in. So if you go through the program successfully, you graduate, you go to work at one of my companies, you start making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. Now you go, well, what do I do now? Well, that's the next program. That's the next, that's like the MBA. You know, it's called invest ultimately, but you know, what do I invest in and how does that work? And you know, what should I do here and there? But that's just another level. So the Real Training program was put together to help the people that know that they're capable. They just don't have the right information. And then I made it extra powerful by giving them the vehicle as well. Most people just want to sell you a course. And a lot of those courses will work, but you better be real smart because once you have those skills, you might run off in the wrong direction. So I just give them the vehicle.
The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more. A hand up versus a handout, yeah?
An opportunity.
That's right.
That's what it is. I should call it a real opportunity because that's all it is.
Well, if it's free, it's a handout.
I know, but if someone's listening to this right now and they're like, I want to do it. Listen, let me warn you, okay? It's not going to be you write me a check and I give you some information and you're rich. I'm going to give you the information I needed to become successful, and then you have to implement it. And that's the part where not everyone's going to be able to do it. And then you don't get your money back. There is no bonus to give you your money back. The trick or the catch to the program is simple. You pay the money, You learn what we need you to learn. You graduate. You go to work. You implement what I taught you, and you will make killer money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, well, then you're not implementing what I taught you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, put your hand in fire and it's going to burn. I already know this.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't put your hand in the fire, I can't guarantee it's going to burn. Well, in this case, you do what I tell you to do. I guarantee you'll win.
Yeah.
You have to. It's the universal laws.
That's right.
Like the habits, dude. One of the habits that you're taught is personal development. What has personal development done for you?
Everything.
What has personal development done for pretty much anybody successful? And ask them about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say the same thing. Well, they developed and they learned the habit of personal development. Well, I didn't learn personal development for a long time. And coincidentally, I wasn't successful for a long time. But once I learned personal development and I realized, oh, this is just a consistent habit that you get into.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it might take someone a year, it might take someone a month, but at the end of the day, man, it's just a habit.
Mm-hmm.
So eating right, working out, self-development, personal development, reading books, growing, developing, volunteering, being kind, being ethical. Those are all things that anyone can do. They just don't. Well, again, if you don't do them, well, then I can't guarantee you success. But I'm going to blow that thing up in 2025.
No doubt.
People listening to this, there's going to be people that are going, oh my God, what a bunch of shit. That's your mindset.
Agreed. Why would they immediately go there?
Because they have the wrong mindset.
Yep.
At the end of the day, though, there's going to be people that listen to your podcast that are going to call me. They're going to go, where's that program?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get into that program? And what's funny is the program is so freaking good, you don't even need to come work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have people that joined and they have a business. They didn't want a job. They just wanted the information. And they said, dude, I've tripled my revenue.
That's right.
I've changed my life. My relationships are better. My life is better. It's unbelievable what I learned in your program. And what am I teaching them? Mindset, skill set, habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not that hard. You develop the right mindset, you develop the right skills, and you develop the right habits, bro, you're unstoppable.
It's a circle too, because once your habits are going to continue to sharpen that and grow that mindset.
It's perpetuous
an
growth.
ongoing triangle.
It is. And that's how I can guarantee it. Because dude, if you do what I tell you to do,
yeah,
and you may not, and if you don't blame me, brother.
That's right.
I gave you the map, bro. You did not want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
If I told you, hey, I know where $1 billion is, it's in upstate New York. Here's the exact map. Drive out, get it, it's yours. And you stop along the way, you get distracted by a stripper in Santa Fe. You got all these things that you decided at some point, hey, I'm not going where he pointed. Then you want to talk shit about the whether it was there or not.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go there. The money's there. It's yours if you go there. Now, getting there, dude, is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the map. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving them the map. I'm giving them the recipe. This sounds like a big commercial for real training.
They just need to know, dude. I've watched you put it together, and it's again, I'm raising a kid, and he's 3 years away from college. So, if there's no return on investment that we can see for the amount of time and money he's going to put in it, he's going to be in that program.
What's funny also is someone asked me the other day that question I brought up earlier. They said, well, if you're so worried about helping everybody, why don't you make it free? And I said, listen, there's no such thing as free. If you want it cheap, how about $20? Go buy the hard way. Go buy my book.
Mm-hmm.
Like that book, it doesn't have the details the program has. It doesn't hold you accountable like the program does. We've got coaches and, accountability, and we've got all the things that makes it work. But someone could buy my book and implement what's in that book and end up in the same place. They just don't get the job opportunity, but they get the information or a lot of it, I should say.
And the audiobook is now available.
The audiobook is available. And again, I mean, if 1 million people went and bought the book, I wouldn't make much. So it's not like I'm trying to get you to buy the book. I'm trying to give you a way out, because there's some people, they don't have any money, literally. Mm-hmm. Why don't you help them? Because, brother, listen, if they don't have any money, 9 times out of 10, it's because they make excuses. It's because their mindset is in such a bad place. I don't want to be the blame, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to come to my program and then blame me. Like, dude, don't blame me.
That's right.
That's another thing. You know, it's personal responsibility, bro. Mm-hmm. Like if you did my real training and you don't succeed, I guarantee you it's 100% you. Because anyone that does these things, they're going to succeed. Mm-hmm. Period.
Folks, you can check out Real Training and the book. It's going to be in the show notes.
I feel like this was set up to sell it, which again, I didn't even know you were going to bring it up.
No, I've watched you put it together, and you know, I even think back, how many years could he have saved off my journey had I known about that 10 years ago?
Well, and again, it's still a question, dude. I'm sure not everybody that goes through it's going to succeed. Only because, people are weak. People don't. It's the mindset. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so big on mindset, because look at it like this. If I get you the right mindset, you're going to go out in the world and it'll get bashed and altered, and your parents and your wife and all these things. If your mindset's not strong enough, you can start out really inspired and motivated and very quickly give up and go back to shitty mindset. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs do it all the time. They go from, fearless, willing to risk, put everything on the line. Then they get something to lose and they're like, wait a minute. I don't want to lose that. So they get scarce again. So their mindset shifted. So what happens in the program is I get your mindset right. And it's pretty easy to do that in the beginning. And then I start to work on your skills. And then that's a little bit tough. You got to go get your teeth kicked in. You got to get some rejection. You got to get that experience. And so then their mindset shifts. And most people, they don't run back and fix their mindset. It's like a balance, right? You got to hit the mindset, then you can hit the skill set. Then the skill set usually knocks your mindset out of whack. So now you got to go back to the mindset. And then as soon as you get that, well, now you go back to the skill set. 8 months have gone by. What do most people do? Oh, this shit ain't working. This isn't a magic pill. I thought it was a magic pill. There's no magic pills. Like, learn it. It takes work. You got to do the work. Some people, it might take a year. Some people, it might take a month. I don't know. It's an individual thing.
Everybody learns different.
Right. So at the end of the day, do I have the information? Because that's what it takes. I need to know the right information. Once I have the information, then I got to go do the work. You go do the work, you'll end up right where you wanted to be. Mm-hmm. That's a fact, and it's a guarantee. It's unbelievable how easy it actually is when you think about it. Mm-hmm. I could ask questions from an audience and give them the answers, and there will be 90% of the audience walk out and go do the same shit they were doing before they ever heard me. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. Like, dude, if use like a weightlifter or a bodybuilder. If you walk up to a bodybuilder and you say, man, I want to look like that. And they go, great, come to the gym with me. After a week in the gym, you're like, dude, this is tough.
Yeah.
Well, no one said it wouldn't be tough.
That's right.
Do you want to look like that guy? Yes, I do. Well, then do what he's doing. And guess what? Your muscles will grow. Take what he's taking. Well, I don't want to take what he's taking. I don't like needles. Again, dude, you got to look and see what the guy did.
That's right.
The guy takes Anavar and Winstrol V and all the steroids, and his liver's going to collapse. And you read an article that scared you, then you don't want to do that much Deca. Next thing you know, you're like, your mind changes and you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't want to be unhealthy, and he's going to be unhealthy. And that's your mind.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that continuing to do what he was doing would have gotten you buff and would have made you a bodybuilder. Ask any bodybuilder what they do what they do, and you'll probably look like they look. Now there's some strange, cases that may exist, like, gonadism or some shit, some medical reason you can't develop your muscles. But in the most part, that's the formula. Mm-hmm. Figure out what it is you want, whether it's bodybuilding or get rich or have a better marriage or grow and scale your business, and, figure out what it is you want. Find someone who's already done it, do what they did, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get what they got. See, how many years you've been doing this?
Since 2021, so 4.
Okay, so and by the way, 3 or 4 years in, I only had like 200,000 or 300,000 followers. Mm-hmm. The 5th, 6th year,
boom. I was going to ask you that.
What if I stopped at year 3?
Yeah, it'd be.
You know how many stopped at month 3?
Oh, all of 99% of
people have come to me, Brad, how do you do it? I say, you do this, you get a camera guy, you do this, you chop it up, you drop it here. Now there's some hacks and some tools, and if you have money, it's even easier because you can hire people. Because if you didn't have a camera guy, dude, you still need a camera whether you got a guy or not.
Yeah.
The tripod doesn't follow you around the hallways. Well, do you have a camera arm? Do you have a camera kid? Like, quit making excuses. You need a camera on you throughout the day, being you, and then you need editors to chop it up, and you need to put up the headlines, and you need to drop it 3 or 4 times a day on social media for 4 or 5 years. After that, I guarantee it, you will have a following. You will find your voice. You will get where you want to go. Now, might it take somebody else 10 years? Yeah, it might. Why? Because their hair's not cool. Because they're, I don't know. But again,
their price is just different.
At the end of the day, dude, that's right. Their price is different. Are they willing to pay the price? Mm-hmm. And what's crazy, dude, is you're going to pay it one way or the other.
That's it. So like you said, it was one of the first things you told me when I met you years ago. You gave me like a monologue. It was beautiful about choices. And that was besides gratitude, because again, like gratitude and entitlement cannot coexist, right? They can't exist at the same time. So you're like, dude, you have a choice to be grateful. And by the way, wherever you're at right now is just where all your choices led you. And I was like, dang, that's good. So it like raising Ethan, and people roast me on this. Some of the biggest videos we've ever put out have been about when I'm talking about Ethan, and Ethan's life's work is to play center field at Yankee Stadium. And I was like, dude, I played baseball at a really high level, top 1% in the world. I know a lot of people. I know played with 0 people that played center field at Yankee Stadium. And he was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, that means that wherever everybody else is going, you have to go a different direction. And that takes big balls, and it's hard. And when your friends are going to the high school football game, if your work wasn't done, you're not going to go. Derek Jeter's dad said that his dad friends would come over to his house, and they'd be sitting there in the living room for 2 hours because Derek had to hit his 1,000 balls in the basement off the tee. He made better choices or different choices than everybody else was willing to make. And being aware of your choices has changed my life big time.
Well, the choices you make determine the road you take.
Yeah.
And it boils down to choices, which is crazy because if you think about it, like everyone's searching for happiness.
Yeah.
When happiness is a choice. Like you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be pissed.
That's it.
And there's things that happen to people and they choose to be pissed.
Yeah.
And they choose to be envious, and they choose to be greedy, and they choose to be selfish. Those are choices.
Yeah.
There's people in prison right now that are blaming somebody else for them being there. Mm-hmm. When in reality, dude, you chose what you chose, and that's why you're where you are. Mm-hmm. It's just the truth. People don't like the truth.
Well, and again, I told you this the other day, and you said, I don't remember saying that. I was like, well, you did. It was when, I was teeter-tottering around getting a VT set up on Lightspeed. I was, forced to use this over. I had all the same excuses everybody else gives you. And you just flat out looked at me and you're like, because I was making it like the content packages and everything else. At the end of the day, it was just a license that we were talking about. And you're like, are you a person that can make a $400 decision or not? And I said, well, yeah. And you're like, well, then make it. And let's move on. And I was like, damn, that was easy too. Again, people make even making choices hard.
Well, yes, they do.
And it was
they
simple.
overcomplicate things, but I don't know if it's people. I think it's Satan. Did I tell you one day?
That was a hit.
Well, listen, one day I chat GPT'd. If you were Satan, what would you do to stop someone from being successful? And the answer was interesting. Number one, he said, I would fill their mind with doubt and fear. That happens to us all. He said, I would make them get distracted with instant gratification. And there was reasons why. Each one had a reason. And I can get into the reasons, but I just want to walk through them. Number one, I'll fill their mind with doubt and fear. I'll distract them with instant gratification. I'll surround them with negative influence. I'll give them a victim mentality. I'll make them seek comfort. Instead of discomfort, right? I'll erode their, or no, I forget the word, but I'll make them focus on endless planning. That's what you're talking about right there. Number 7, I'll erode their confidence. Number 8, I will have them focus on external rewards, not internal. He doesn't want you looking inwards, because that's where the answers are. Everybody's looking externally.
That's right.
When it's internally, you need to look.
Point back.
I will give him terrible habits, promote addiction, promote obsession, stuff like that. And then I'll remove a sense of urgency. So those 10 things is how the devil, how Satan would keep you from being successful. So again, me being a logical fellow, all you need to do is reverse those. If you want to be successful, don't allow those things. Don't allow what? Quit thinking you have all the time in the world. Increase your intensity. Like patience, do not have patience. Have the opposite of patience. Have urgency. He'd remove the sense of urgency. Well, you need to establish a sense of urgency. Okay. He would give you poor habits. You need to adopt great habits. He would make you focus externally, focus internally. He would erode your confidence, build your confidence. He would make you plan forever. You don't need to plan. The universe does not reward potential. It rewards action. Okay. He would keep you comfortable, get uncomfortable. Okay. He would give you a victim mentality, take some accountability and personal responsibility. He would surround you with negative influence, get rid of all the negativity. He would distract you with instant gratification. Things take time, brother. Things take time. Get rid of that instant gratification mindset of yours. And then he would fill your mind with doubt and fear. Dude, fill your mind with certainty. That's it. So that's how you become successful. How is the question? How do I get rid of the fear and the doubt? Again, to me, dude, by taking action. They're all intertwined.
Yeah.
The only reason you're fearful is because you don't know. Like if I tell you to go into a dark room, the reason you're apprehensive is because you don't know what's in the room.
Right.
What if there's a monster in there? What if I can get hurt? What if there's blades everywhere? Well, if I flip the light on and it's just an empty room, you walk in and you're like, this ain't scary. The only reason you were scared is because you didn't know what was in the room. So how do you get rid of fear? You replace it with knowledge. You replace it, man. It's not rocket science. And that's why you always hear me say it's easy. And you're like, well, people don't think it's easy. That's because they don't have the knowledge. They're fearful. They're doubtful. You know, the real training program, dude, we talk to hundreds of people a week offering the program. And the majority says no. Why? I'm telling them this is your way out. They want a way out. They've got the money, but they're fearful. They're doubtful. Can't help it, dude. You got to overcome that.
Yeah.
It's I believe it's Satan that's doing it. It's the good versus evil. And like I said, maybe I'm blessed, you know, not maybe, I know I'm blessed, but like people always ask, Brad, what's your trick? How do you be so confident? Dude, I do the work, man. I pay attention. I do the opposite of those 10 things.
Yeah. The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hider. Team Hider has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhider.com. I want to talk a little bit about, one of my something I'm really excited about and passionate about is, showing people what personal branding and good marketing on social has done for my life, not just in the vertical I'm in now, but we learned it in the nightclub industry, which that's the best and most competitive place to be. The best promoters win. Your competition is good, especially on Broadway. So and when we got into the world of insurance and they were like, here, call these people. And I was like, wait a minute, what? I know all these people. Let me call a different set of people. Let me put this on Facebook. And they were like, man, nobody's on Facebook and doing insurance. It changed everything for us. And it's something that I've been watching people like you learn how to take it to the next level. And it changed everything for our life. Everything that we have that's the root of everything that we're doing, because we can reach people. And in 2025, there's a dang good chance that you're going to have a spot here, right? So now I want to go back to the social media thing.
You mean here in Nashville?
Yes, here in Nashville.
Yes, I'm opening a studio or a office here in Nashville because my wife loves it, and I'm here more and more and more. And when I'm here, dude, I don't have my studio in Vegas, so I can't do podcasts. I can't film content. I can't do what I do. So it costs me a lot of money not doing what I do. Mm-hmm. So while I'm here, I'm like, dude, I just need an office. Mm-hmm. I wish I had an office. And then I'm thinking, well, dude, I can get an office. I don't know why I'm not. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm opening an office here in Nashville.
And there's a good possibility that if things work out like they look to be doing right now, that people have access to utilize some of the tools in this space, right? But talk to me about, I'm still amazed. Pretty much every billions of people have a Facebook, an Instagram, and all these things. And you asked a question one time on a stage that I thought was really good. You said, it's called social media. How social is your media? I was like, that's pretty solid, right? It's, what does social mean? Conversations back and forth, starting conversations back and forth. At the end of the day, the more people that know you, the more popular you are. That's what your reputation comes from. And there's reputations in person, there's reputations online. We talked about how the people that have the allodoxophobia, they're not on it because they fear what other people will think. But what are they really missing out on, Brad, in your opinion? In my opinion, I think it's not a matter of if they're going to do it. It's just a matter of when. And the longer they wait, the harder it's going to be to get out of the trenches, in my opinion, right?
Well, not only that, but dude, social media is not going to be free forever. Mm. So the window's closing, dude. Mm. Pretty soon it will cost you to do what we're doing for free. Mm. You have a TV station in your pocket.
Yes. And
you have no channel. You have no show. How does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Back before there was iPhones and social media, what'd you have to do? It was a radio, TV, movies, concert.
And you'd give anything to get on one of those devices.
You'd have to go sleep with somebody.
Yep.
Or go to a Diddy party or some shit. But I mean, at the end of the day, dude, it wasn't easy. Now it's easy. It's decentralized. Mm-hmm. You have a TV station in your pocket, but you do not broadcast any show whatsoever. Well, dude, that's just you being stupid or with allodoxophobia, or you don't do it long enough. I'm telling you, I've had people come to me, I'm willing to do anything. And they had money and they're like, I'll do anything. And I say, okay, hire a camera guy and do this and do that. And then they do it for like 2 or 3 months and they're like, it didn't work. I'm like, I didn't do it for 2 or 3 months and it worked. Yeah. Fool. I did it for 5 years, bro.
Oh yeah.
5 straight years Like I think 3 or 4 years into it, dude, I had like 300,000 followers, and that's pretty good. But I didn't really start catching any momentum until about the 5th year. And what's funny is I told my wife one day, I don't remember how long ago it was, but when I started, I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Twitter and all that. And I looked at my wife and I got an Instagram, and then I started posting, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "What are you doing?" I said, I got to start building a brand. And she said, "Oh my God, that's stupid." And I said, "Trust me, you won't be saying that in about 3 or 4 years." I thought it'd be quicker, but now she's very thankful I did it. Now when she hears people come up to me in the mall and at the airport and want their picture and tell me that I changed their life. I've had people crying, "Oh, you changed my life." And I'm like, "What did I say? Like, how?" Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Your social media, I've been following you, and you said this and you said that, and it made all the difference in the world." And I look at her and I'm like, stupid. And it brings money. It brings impact. Everyone should understand that they have a TV station in their pocket. And if they don't have a channel, they don't have a show, or their show's once a year or once a month, they're just not doing it right. Flood the internet with you. That's all you do. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people think, well, dude, no one's going to want to hear me. Dude, that's a mindset issue. That's a self-worth issue. I'd say stop doing what you're doing then and go do it. Or better yet, turn the camera on you fixing your problem. Like don't be afraid to say, "Listen, I am so insecure. I'm going to figure out how to get more secure, and I'm going to let you come along with me." Mm-hmm. And then there would be so many people watching you fix yourself because they're broken too.
Yeah.
And they're unwilling to admit it. So they'll watch you do it, and you will help a lot of people, and more than likely get really popular doing it, because there's not a lot of people out there that will show the dirt.
That's right. The one of
and by the way,
watching that growth is huge, man.
And just so I don't forget, you said, how do I know the trends? Or at least that's where you were headed, because I agree. I'm a little bit intuitive. Mm-hmm. And, I watch kids because I have kids. And my kids always want to go live. So like when you started this, you were live. Mm-hmm. That's where it's going.
Yep.
If I were you, I would install cameras. Now, again, an empty room 24 hours a day, no one's going to watch. But like, if somebody installed cameras in their office and just you watched what was going on in that office, that would get popular.
Absolutely.
So in 2025, I'm going to start going live a lot.
I think there's some content creators out there that have access to people's drives, and they have access to video footage that nobody else has access to. And I've been waiting on one of those content creators to start speaking to that, because that's exactly what you're talking about. They got eyes that in places nobody else can see, and it's cool. It's literally behind the scenes, and they got knowledge and stuff about people that never happened. So I think you're right, spot on with that. And I've been talking about opening up a new spot from the Hit Lab's been around since 2021 technically, and I can tell you all the ways not to run a studio space. I can tell you all the ways to fail at it, because we did it. It took a while. We learned what type of people you need. We learned the gear and the functionality and all those things. But I didn't build the Hit Lab just because I wanted to own an agency. It was just because we put together a team and people started calling, asking if they could use it. But it turned into, it's helped a lot of people, and it's helped some people big time. And I'm like, dude, this is cool. I want to help more people like this. And I never will forget, it was the last time you were on the Hitstreak. You're a 2-time guest here. And you were standing out at your car, and you were talking about opening a spot. And I was saying, hey, man, I'm going to open up a spot too. So rather than compete, or not that you would compete, but rather than have to do 2 of them, why not figure out a way to do 1? And it's taken a couple years to get there. And but I think we're really onto something here, man. And I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. But regardless, I'm going to find a spot, and we're going to do something cool. We're going to help
you
a lot
have
of
a
people.
spot.
Well, we need to level up. It's time. Again, this spot's 3 years.
You want to
old.
find a better spot.
Better spot. And again, just like you said, there's the live features, and it's time to level up, man. It's truly there's a whole nother destination that we can go from here, and that destination's badass.
Well, the studio that we'll have open here shortly will be big enough for the Hit Lab and others.
No doubt.
So again, I'd like to open it up to any, let's call them content creator or entrepreneur or someone who wants to build a brand who doesn't have, $500,000 or $1 million to open their own. Just come use that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what you're doing here. And in the meantime, until it opens, use the Hit Lab. They can change the background. This is your studio, just like it's Nick's studio. Like I'm sitting in Nick's studio. Well, dude, I could literally end this podcast, throw my logo up there and do my own podcast.
You did last year, actually. You shot your New Year's Eve episode here.
Yeah, I just filmed one at Coach Bert's place because, I've been here a month. I was here the whole month of December, and it's cost me probably $500,000 to $1 million that I can tangibly feel. So I'm just going to put that into a studio. Then I'll never do that again. Yeah. And if I'm not here, well, dude, everybody else should have a spot to come to, and they're welcome to use that.
I think the biggest problem that I have in helping people is not enough people know that I can help them. And that's big value. Again, you have a big sounding board in your platforms, and I'm excited about that, about being able to collaborate on some things and do that. So it's
I know a guy who runs a acne studio for complexion issues. His is called the Zit Lab. And then a proctologist is going to open up the Shit Lab. But if you're looking for social media influence, well, then you want the Hit Lab.
That's right. All right. Winding down here, man. How are, first of all, it's been great watching you, just watching you the last 3-4 years, you've evolved a ton. You say you're still doing the same things, but you're not. It's evolved a lot. You've evolved. You had the 50K challenge with Andy Elliott, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where you got the abs, you got the money.
Got the 6-pack.
That's right. And you're going to keep it now.
Yes.
And how much better do you feel?
Well, a lot better. A lot better.
Do you miss the stuff you had to give up?
Not at all.
You did it first, right? But then...
No.
I always do it at the beginning. Day 1's hard. Day 2's easy.
I mean, dude, I wish that, biscuits and gravy and chicken fried steak and maple bars and Oreos and all that shit made you ripped. Because, I much prefer to eat to my heart's content. However, you got to make a sacrifice one way or the other. So I sacrificed food and comfort for abs and 50 grand in this case. So, but it's more than 50 grand. Like I almost feel guilty taking his money. Because at the end of the day, he was just trying to get me to level up. And that's what he did. And I mean, it wasn't him per se, but that was a little fuel. I've been threatening to do it for a long time. I just didn't think it would make that big of a difference, but that was just me rationalizing. If someone were to tell me now, did it make a difference? Well, I mean, not necessarily a difference that I could say, oh, night and day, brother, my life changed because I have abs now. No, but dude, it did teach me that, number one, I'm an example, whether I want to be or not. And people listening to this.
That's the responsibility I was talking about.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, like, you're an example, dude. Ethan's watching you. Everybody wants to know, how do we parent our kids better? Dude, just realize they're not listening. They're watching.
That's right. So
it taught me, or it made me realize, because I already knew, I was just, rationalizing. It just taught me that, I'm an example and I'm a better example now. So to me, I leveled up. I'm thankful to Andy that he threw out that bet, but I would have done it eventually anyway. I think he just accelerated it. And, hopefully, in 6 months, this will age well and I'll be even better in shape. I hope I'm not fat again.
Well, it's I like making commitments in public. Like that for me, that's the accountability. Like
Not me though.
no, well, that was what happened. though.
It wouldn't bother me. Like
y'all-
again, if in 6 months everybody sees, oh, he got fat again, fuck you.
Well, I know.
I wanted to eat again. Like, dude, I do what I want to do, and I don't care what everybody else wants. I care about what I want, and what I want is to continue to level up and be a better example for people, because I know that that's truly what's going to help them. It's not going to help anybody, including me, getting fat again. In fact, it might harm people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure I'll stay there. But if I didn't, and I don't, and 6 months from now, this is not aging well, and I'm a big fat face again, guess what? We all fall short, brother. We all fall short.
Well, nobody's undefeated.
Exactly. So again, I'm not too worried about what other people are going to say, but I know that public accountability does help people stick to it. Just not me. But I like where you were heading,
Yeah.
because public accountability will work for some people.
Well, that was when it came true. You guys talked about it for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it was online, and it happened. Like, you know what I mean?
Like maybe that was coincidental.
Well, I would just say, folks, if
But
you're
just
having a
like-
hard time keeping your word, like make it, dude, then make it to other people. Like whatever you got to
No,
do.
there's scientific fact that if you proclaim it to the world and other people, you're more likely to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. There's been studies on that, where like if I have a goal, like for example, I set a goal and I don't tell anybody, I'm less likely to achieve that goal than if I shared it with my family.
That's right.
And I'm less likely even then than if I shared it with the world. So scientifically, factually, you are correct. I'm just an anomaly.
All right, last question, because I know you got stuff to do. I'm not going to ask you what your goals are for 2025. What's your plans for 2025?
Dude, my plans are very simple. What I want to do for 2025 is to continue to level up personally, right, and professionally. I need to find or create fire-breathing dragons. I need management for several of my companies, mid-level and C-level. I'm looking to build a team. If anyone asks me what is my biggest freaking regret to date, is not building a team. You can only go so far by yourself. And I think I've reached as far as I'm going by myself with any sanity. And again, I could probably do a little more and a little better, but I'm not going where I want to go. So I need to build a team. So in 2025, I'm going to build a team at each one of my companies, preferably from the people that are coming through the real training program. Like it starts with sales, because if you can't sell something, I can't use you. But if you can sell something successfully, and then you can help other people sell stuff successfully, well then, I can move you up into management. So my plans for 2025 is to blow up the program, the real training, fill up all the companies and scale them with organizational architecture and management systems. And then in 3 to 5 years, start exiting those companies and just sail off into the sunset with the training, with the real training. I wish all I could do all day long is train people on how to win, give them the vehicle to win with. So 2025 is me setting the foundation and making sure each company is solid and exitable. Because people don't realize, dude, businesses aren't exitable if you have to be there.
Fact. The Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial. That was the hardest lesson I learned in our second nightclub is when I went to run, me and Randy went to go run the second one, the first one sucked again.
Yeah, well, you failed to build the team then.
That's right.
That's what I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I just get tired and I'm like, dude, just move. I'll do it.
That's right.
Dude, what are you, an idiot? Let me do it. Here, let me show you how it's done, son. Bang, 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 bang. And I didn't develop anybody. I didn't do myself any justice by doing it myself. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there currently doing the same thing.
That's right.
So 2025, dude, I'm building a team. I'm building a massive team, fire breathing dragons, badasses. I'm gonna lead them and develop them, and ultimately build a massive empire of badasses to set an example that can be followed by everybody else who wants to do the same thing. Because fortunately, I did build a brand, and it's much easier for me. And that's why you always hear me say it's easy. Like, I built multiple companies in a year, multi-million-dollar companies in a year. People are like, how'd you do it? Dude, I have a personal brand now. It's pretty easy for me to do now.
You can reach people.
Yeah, it took 20 years to build my first 8-figure company. There was no social media. It was much more difficult. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the knowledge. Now I have the knowledge. I've got the money. I've got the social media. Nothing's stopping me now, but my lack of action. So 2025 is action. And someone asked me the other day, "What's your word for 2025?" Like they have a word for every year. And I said, "I don't have a fucking word." Stupid. But I just discovered it right here, right now. My word for 2025 is action.
Action. I like it.
Because like if you're filming a movie and you go lights,
camera.
No, you say lights. What happens? Nothing.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to making a movie.
Right.
Camera. They're saying, we got the lights on, we got the camera on, and then until they say action, nothing happens. So action is my word for 2025.
I love it. Well, dude, thanks for the time today, man.
You're welcome.
And I've been meaning to bring you back often. One of my biggest problems is I don't know how to ask for things. I'm working on it. I like to do things on my own. But
read my book.
I have. I'll read it
What
again.
What does it say?
Which part?
The part where it says, ask for help. I don't know what chapter it is. I don't know my book that well. And I wrote every word of it, but I don't know what chapter it was.
Well, I only read it once. My son's read it too, by the way.
Well, get Ethan on the phone and say, what chapter does Brad instruct you to ask for help? Isn't that crazy? What you just said? A lot of people don't want to ask for help. And that's one of the lessons I learned the hard way. Neither did I. And now it's like, dude, it's the easiest thing to do.
I agree. Well, thanks for all your help along the way, man.
My pleasure.
It's been awesome. Your family's awesome. They've been good to us. We're grateful to have you guys as friends. Appreciate it. Cash the check after Thursday.
My pleasure.
Well, folks, back again in the Hit Lab, the real Bradley. All of the things you need to know about him are in his show notes, but on all of his socials, it's at the real Bradley. Bradley.com is the URL. Check out Real Training. Buy the book The Hard Way, available anywhere you can buy a book. Check out the podcast Dropping Bombs if you're one of the 10 people around the world that don't already. And dude, seriously, thanks for the time today, man. It's been a good time.
My pleasure.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.